Hey everybody, and welcome to EMP.Money. My name is AJ Brockman, and I am the team lead here at EMP. Now, a lot of you may not have ever seen one of our daily AMAs or any of our videos, and I wanted to make this video pop up on the website directly to give all of you an insight on what we're doing. So I'm joined today by one of our trusted community members and someone that works with us hand in hand on the economics of our protocol. And again, we just wanted to give you a quick breakdown of what we have planned, the future of EMP, why we're all super bullish, even though PEG is not looking too good at the moment. We have amazing plans for recovery, and we're going to take the next 20 or 30 minutes to go over all that. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome again my co-host, Matiu. Matiu, how are you, brother?
Thanks, AJ. Yeah, no, thank you, mate. Good to be here, and yeah, I'm always happy to talk about EMP.
Awesome, brother, no doubt. So I know you've been a long-time member, and again, we work hand in hand with you. You are what we call a math magician instead of a mathematician. But anyway, we're kind of break down some things here. And really, I just want to preface this by we are trying to come up with a permanent solution to make EMP the most sustainable passive income platform on the planet with exposure to Ethereum. So we're not looking to do a band-aid, and that's why, again, yes, PEG has been dropping, but we don't want to implement things too soon without having an actual game plan to not only recover PEG, but to maintain PEG indefinitely. So, Machu, I'm going to have you share your screen if you can. Let's see if this works.
Sure.
All right, perfect, brother. We can see you good. So, let's go ahead and just start with basically a little bit more of the math and the logic behind the Seniors protocol and how we're kind of moving away from just being a tomb fork, Machu, and then kind of what we have planned. I'll let you take the lead, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah. Look, I'll probably I was going to say this before, but I'll probably just start by saying, yeah, I've been part of the EMP community since the early days, and the reason why I'm part of that community and still part of that community, I think, is the team. You know, I think the way that the team conducts itself, including AJ, you know, is they're always building, always working, and always innovating. And this is crypto, so nothing stays the same for too long. Kind of that Charles Darwin saying is that it's not the strongest or the fittest of the species that survive. It's the ones that can adapt best to the changing environment. And I think the team at EMP, that's what gives me confidence. And I think what we're about to go through now, what AJ and the team have shared with me, I think is a pure example of that innovation and of that adaptation. But yeah, look, from a community perspective, PEG is really important. I know there's been a lot of talk about PEG and getting back to PEG, but in my mind, I think there's 3 steps really to PEG. One is getting to PEG. That's the first step. The second step is actually maintaining PEG. So it's not just about getting there and then falling back, a week or 2 or a month later. Step 2 is about getting there and staying there. And then step 3 of that process, in my mind, how I see it is, it's maintaining PEG, but then it's providing upward pressure, regular upward pressure on PEG, so it is above 1.01. So while at the moment there's a lot of the community calling for getting back to PEG, and I think that's definitely the first step in the process. I think what the teams shared with me and what we're going to go through today is really those important step 2, step 3 of the process. Getting there is great, but maintaining it and then providing upward pressure, that is the key to longevity in the protocol.
Absolutely, Machu, no doubt, brother. And again, I appreciate your kind words. If this is your first video that you're seeing, I mean, we literally do daily AMAs. We have been building behind the scenes every single day for the last, 7 months or almost 8 months that the protocol has been in existence. And yeah, again, we just wanted to do kind of a recap video to let everybody know that there are things that are coming to fruition that are going to change the landscape of the entire protocol for the better and for the sustainability of everyone involved. So, all right, awesome, Matsu. So, I guess we can kind of start with I don't know. Go ahead, bro. What do you want to start off with?
Yeah, I think maybe talking a little bit more about, and I'm by the way, I'm really excited about what's happening. What we're about to talk about today, because I think it's actually got real, it's got a in reality, this solution here, that the solutions we're about to talk about could really provide longevity and boost EMP to even another level. So,
Totally.
but I'm probably talking about that maintaining peg, and getting to peg is one thing, but maintaining peg, really the EMP peg to Ethereum is really dependent. Having EMP stay there at peg, it's really a battle of buy pressure versus sell pressure. And so, having the buy pressure match the sell pressure of EMP will maintain EMP at whatever point it's at. So getting to peg, once we get there, then be able to match the buy pressure to the sell pressure will keep us there. Now, I probably wanted to go through a little bit, take a bit of a back step on the difference between just burning EMP and actually buying EMP and burning it. So some people may not realize this, some people will. So apologies if I'm just telling you something you already know. But when just burning EMP doesn't actually provide the upward pressure on the price of EMP or the value of EMP, it's got to be bought first and then burnt. So there's got to be, to maintain peg, there's got to be, to be able to buy that EMP, there's got to be regular revenue streams coming in to maintain or consistently buy EMP to match the sell pressure. Now, those revenue streams can come from multiple places at the moment. And the reason why that is, I suppose, is that if you're buying, let's say you've got some ETH, you want to buy some EMP, that ETH then goes into the liquidity pool. It's added to the existing ETH in the pool, and you're giving back EMP. Now, what happens after that transaction is that now you have more ETH than you had before, and you have less EMP. So that means the value of ETH per EMP has gone up, thus creating a higher value to that EMP. And then once you burn the EMP, it takes it out of circulation. So you've done two things. You've used that revenue to buy and put upward pressure on the price of EMP, and then you've burnt it out of circulation. So just burning EMP without buying it first doesn't have the effect that we want it to have. And so that's why revenue streams are really important, or buy pressure on EMP. And so
Yep.
when,
Awesome.
yeah. So do you want me to keep on going, mate, or do
Yeah,
you
no,
want to
for
add
sure.
something
So
to?
I just wanted to elaborate on that a little bit. So, and
Yeah.
that's why a lot of community members have been suggesting some sort of a tax or another mechanism that will help get back to peg inherently in the code. But like Machu said, peg is solely derived from buying and selling. So even if there was a tax, not only does that open up some potential exploits, but that would mean that we would have to actually sell EMP to then have the revenue to buy it back. And we never do that. I mean, we never sell the native asset because, again, like Machu said, PEG is solely determined based on the buying and selling volume. So if we want PEG to go back up, there has to be more buying than selling. And again, it's another reason we'll talk about this a little bit later as well with nodes. So nodes have been very powerful in helping us, stave off that selling pressure. But now, because we're below peg, that is where we're seeing a lot of the selling pressure come from. So if you are a node owner and you're taking profit in nodes directly, you're contributing to diminishing peg every single day. And so it is a little counterintuitive, and we'll talk a little bit more about that strategy towards the end. But and all this is covered as well in our EMP Academy. So if you have not taken that, please do so. But this is a great video. Again, if you've kind of been a little out of the loop, this is meant to be a full, reintroduction into what we're doing and how the mechanisms work, as well as how we're going to recover. And what I like to say is become bulletproof, because as much as said, with this focus on revenue streams and having daily buying pressure on EMP, no matter what the market conditions are, that is truly how not only we recover peg, but we maintain peg, what we hope is indefinitely. So, yeah. All right, Machu, what's your next topic here? Go ahead, man.
Well, I suppose when looking, so if we know it's a battle between buy and sell pressure, then the next step is to understand where does the sell pressure and the buy pressure come from, or where can it come from? So when you're looking at the EMP ecosystem and you're looking potential sell pressure points, then detonator is one of those sell pressure points because part of the yield is an EMP, and so it's the EMP LP. So it's potential sell pressure coming from detonator. Nodes, it's pure EMP being emitted. So there's potential sell pressure coming off nodes. Now, I know you mentioned nodes before. I agree. I actually think nodes, I mean, and just so you know, I have a fair chunk of nodes that I have invested in,
For
but
sure.
yeah, so I'm coming from someone who's in nodes, but yeah, I look at nodes and think to myself, even myself and other community members that I've talked to about this are happy for the APR on nodes to drop. That reduces my emissions per day. It doesn't stop my eventual long term reward from it, because it'll pay out. It'll just take longer.
Absolutely.
But I'm invested across the ecosystem. But even from a node holder, I'm happy for that APR to drop to reduce the sell pressure, because I know how important the buy versus sell battle is in terms of us getting back to peg.
Yep, no
Um,
doubt. Well, and that again, not to cut you off, Matthew, but I think that's
mm,
super important. And yeah, I mean, again, we see a lot of people taking profit on nodes even now, and we can't control people pressing the buttons, the buying and the selling, but we can control the sustainability of the protocol. And nodes have always been designed to have that variable APR, so that when we are going down in price, that there is less selling pressure over time, and that, again, like Mashu said, yeah, temporarily it definitely hurts to have your daily rewards cut, but once we recover, you'll see a massive influx in not only the price of EMP, but then when the boardroom starts printing again, there's more EMP in nodes to be distributed out. So and again, I don't want to make this video go on for too long, but I want to make sure that we all are on the same page. So I guess, Matu, why don't we jump into the plans of what we have for Detonator as a service, and really getting the revenue streams coming in to maintain PEG permanently. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so with Detonator as a service, I think some people understand its power, but I think there's a lot of people that don't quite get how powerful this particular feature can be. So Detonator as a service is, if I can share the screen of the Detonator, this is the original Detonator here that was created in the early days, and it's just a massive ROI contract, really powerful ROI contract that allows any project. And we're working with partners. We've already done two now. One with Splinterlands and one with Hypermine, and we've got a couple of partners in the queue. But Detonator as a service is such a hugely powerful project to be able to lock up liquidity for a protocol, to lock that liquidity up and create such a solid concrete floor in terms of that lock liquidity, in terms of absorbing any particular sell pressure within your protocol into that large amount of liquidity that's been created in the Detonator. And if I look at let's take Reactor for an example, how powerful it can be and how much liquidity can be locked. I think Reactor's been going for just over a month. If I go down to the amount of liquidity that's been created, $1.85 million of liquidity in just over a month. Now, when I look at that and I look at other projects out there, that is, some projects, that's almost 4 times their current liquidity. It's for some projects, it's half their current liquidity, but whether it's 4 times or half, by having a Detonator as a service in your protocol, you can really create a massive concrete floor of liquidity, which is what's been created with an EMP in the EMP token and the eShare token. So that's why we've got a lot of projects wanting to get this on their platform and getting it up and running. And especially in this market, if you can create during a bear market a concrete floor, it gives you the time to continue to build and see that bull market when it comes.
Yeah,
Um,
no doubt, Machu. And yeah, to piggyback on that real fast, brother. So yeah, I mean, and that is the other side of the coin is, why would somebody want a detonator as a service? And the numbers don't lie. I mean, it is literally a no-brainer for a protocol to partner with us, and then through that. We are able to monetize it. So, Detonator is purposely closed source, and we knew the potential power of this contract even in the beginning. And so not only is there a licensing fee that a protocol has to pay to have it, but then we also get a percentage of all those transactions. So Machu, again, I know you're the numbers guy, so maybe go into the breakdown of how much money we can actually produce with something like this.
Absolutely. So, we're talking about the benefit to the partners, and it's a no-brainer for a partner to take on a detonator as a service into their protocol, not just for the locked liquidity, but just the exposure to their protocol from other eyes, because a lot of people will look at that and that haven't even maybe experienced their protocol and actually
Right?
get to their protocol homepage through this detonator as a service.
Yep, it's also a
So,
marketing play. Exactly, brother. Yep.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, but from the benefits of EMP, if we look at some of the numbers, and this is where the power actually, this is where people can actually see how powerful it can be. So with the detonator as a service is in a queue. So there's already been 2 launched. There's other partners that really want to launch. So I have no doubt, and I think this number could possibly be conservative as well, that in the coming month or so, or coming months, we could see $10 million worth of liquidity locked across the detonator as a service. So not including our detonator or reactor, but just across the partner projects, that $10 million. Now, if you take 4% of that $10 million, it's $400,000, which is pretty good, right? So, that revenue can come back, create buy and burn pressure on the EMP token. But the even more powerful aspect of detonator as a service is the ability to be able to rehypothecate that locked liquidity onto the farm of that protocol. So let's take $10 million. And what I mean by that is being able to use that liquidity on that protocol's farm or wherever they're giving yield, while at the same time having it provide yield within the detonator as a service. So let's have a look at that $10 million. Now, rehypothecation, I'm going to go with a conservative APR of, say, 50%. And now that's less than 0.2% a day. It's probably around 0.15% a day of yield on average yield across these protocols that are using detonator as a service on their farms. So if we take 50% APR on 10 million, that's $5 million a year that EMP can generate in terms of revenue. EMP can generate bring it back to the protocol to buy EMP and burn. Now, if that $10 million ends up being $20 million, that's $10 million of yield bringing back into to EMP to buy and burn EMP. Now, once we get up to peg, you'll see people FOMO in to the farms, because once you get up to peg, E-share price will rise. Now, when E-share price rises from where it is at now, and I believe it's at a floor. So once we see the peak come up, we could see a tripling, a quadrupling, and maybe a ×5 in the E-share price. And then that will then make the farm yields even more attractive, creating more buy pressure on EMP, because people will want to get into that farm to get that yield because it's pegged to Ethereum. And so it just creates this wave of sustainability, but just huge bullishness back into the EMP community because of this detonator as a service product.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well said, Machu. And again, I know when you and I talk, and the people that are listening that truly internalize all this information, it is so amazing what the potential that what we have here. And this is all without relying on the next bull market. I mean, yes. Do we think that all these numbers can be compounded by a factor of 5 or 10 in the next bull market? Absolutely. But we're not relying on that. We're putting together a strategy and a plan to recover PEG, to make EMP absolutely bulletproof, regardless of what the market conditions are. And yeah, I mean, again, all of this plays into what we're doing long term. And then another thing that we talk about a lot, and we got to kind of wrap it up here so that we don't get too long. But one thing we talk about a lot is our final form at EMP. And again, Matiu, the team, Jake, our developer, all of us are working on a very, very unique concept of what will actually not only get us back to peg through everything we outlined today, but then also make it to where it's actually going to be more profitable for you to hold EMP than selling it. And that has always been my mission here at EMP. And I think that we're set up for the future as well. So, Madru, anything you want to add in the last like minute or so while we wrap it up? Go ahead, brother.
I think I'll just go back to the beginning. There's a three-step process to peg: getting to peg, maintaining peg, and then providing upward pressure on peg. Just step one doesn't create any longevity in the project. If you just want to get back to peg, but you're not concerned about maintaining peg, you're probably going to dump on everyone's head when we get back to peg. You know what I mean? Like, you're a short-term investor. I'm not, and a lot of the community members in the army and the VIP, we're here for the long haul, because of the team and because the potential we see in EMP and its team. So really, what we talked about today is about the step 2 and step 3: maintaining peg and providing upward pressure on peg, so it pushes above 1.01, and detonator as a service will go a long way to achieving that, and I'm excited about it.
Amazing, brother. Well, thanks for joining me, Matthew. I agree 100%. And thanks for all of you to watching till the very end. And again, join us on all of our socials as well as YouTube for even more info. Thanks, everyone.